Welcome back to the third and last session of BioPolymer and Molding, the International Congress on the Future of the Plastics Industry. I'm pleased that we can now take a look at Canada, where the world's leading manufacturer of hot channel technology is currently based. Peter, what is the challenge of processing biopolymers with hot runner?
Yes, hot runners are used in injection molding of packaging articles. It is an absolute must. There are no molds without it, from cups and closures and all big volume articles. For instance, here I have a pen. By the way, it is made out of biopolymer. And this pen is in a mold where 100 articles are next to each other. So for each one you need a hot channel to get the melt into the cavity. Here also on our cups, our biopolymer cups, you see the injection point. This is all done by hot channel technology. Biopolymers are quite sensitive on staying a long time in the heat, and that's why they need a very good control of temperatures, and it is a very tricky thing that you get it done. I met the responsible general manager of Mold Master in Europe and India, Mr. Hagelstein, on the last Fakuma fair. And I found a lot of engagement in this issue. We really appreciate this. Neil did a wonderful research, and I will listen very carefully to his lecture.
Okay, so great. So do the others too, hopefully. Join me now in welcoming Neil Dubois, Senior Manager of Mold Masters, to hear his presentation on the topic Evaluating Polymers in Hot Runner Systems. Here is the film.
Evaluating biopolymers in hot runner systems. My name is Neil Dubois. I'm Senior Manager of Global Master Solutions with Mold Masters. So first, Mold Masters is a global hot runner supplier. That's our core business. We make hot runner systems. We make the temperature controllers and mold technologies and system process control systems that go along with those hot runner systems. But hot runners is our main focus, our core business. Mold Masters has been proven to deliver consistent, high-performance hot runner systems and is the ideal choice for many applications. Mold Masters has a wide range of application experience and knowledge within the industry. Our systems, including our Master Series system, is compatible with a broad range of materials and engineering materials, commodity materials, etc. Today we're going to talk about bioresins. Mold Masters has a long history with bioresins. Before bioresins were fashionable, Mold Masters was engaged in some pioneering activities with bioresins. So while we've had a lot of experience and gained a lot of knowledge related to bioresins, many of those applications we're not able to talk about because they were confidential or proprietary, done with our customers. So we wanted to do something about that. So what we did was we went out and we purchased a wide range of available bioresins in the marketplace, and we ran those materials in our test laboratory. So we did a conductive project. We did a comprehensive project assessing the feasibility of a wide range of bio and PCR resins running in our Master Series system. This testing was done with a multi-cavity, a 16-cavity closure mold primarily, and this mold could be configured as a valve gate system or a thermal, or what we call a torpedo gate hot runner system. Within our test laboratory, we have a ferromatic machine running our 16-cavity, 24 millimeter closure. that is configurable as a valve gate or a tip gate system. So the two different types of gating methods that we have available within this mold is an E-Torpedo or an Accu-Valve MX valve gate system. First of all, the E-Torpedo has no moving parts. The torpedo provides heat and polymer and brings it down into the gate area, feeding material into the gate. With an open gate or torpedo gate, there will be some gate vestige or a little remnant of plastic that will stay on the molded part. In order for this gate to function properly, it's important that there is good gate cooling in order to optimize the gate quality. This is what a torpedo gate looks like. The plastic gets into the cavity. It's guided in there with the heat in the torpedo to make sure that that gate opens when we apply pressure. Cooling solidifies the material in the gate, and then the mold can open and take the part away from the gate. So the Accu-Valve MX is our valve gate system that we used for this evaluation. This Accu-Valve MX is commonly used throughout the industry for commodity materials and also for certain engineering materials. It provides an excellent gate appearance. It has constant pin guidance, guiding that valve pin into position, and then close tolerance on the valve pin and the gate ensure that we achieve a high gate quality. So the valve pin is pulled back through an actuation mechanism. Typically a hydraulic or pneumatic is more commonplace. Pulling that valve pin back, opening up clearance for the plastic to flow through the nozzle and into the gate. So within our testing process, we run a variety of materials provided by our customer. We provide a full report on the performance. We provide samples. We can provide photographs of the parts. And in this case, we're looking at a closure, 24 millimeter diameter. It's quite a thick wall for a closure, 1.1 millimeters, and molding polypropylene, this part is approximately 1.2 grams. We have a test protocol that we established. This is what we used in our bioresin project for testing. This details the different type of tests that we're going to use to evaluate the material and how it behaves. Things like evaluating the process window. Is the material thermally sensitive? This is a major concern for many applications. We evaluate the residence time by increasing the cycle, by opening the gate and pausing, letting the material sit for 5 minutes and then molding again to see if there's any degradation observed in the molded parts. Of course, we're interested in the gate quality. Anything that we observe, we make note of, so that if so that a molder molding that material isn't starting from ground zero. They have the benefit of our experience. Any observations will be shared. So during our testing, any observances that we might make will be noted. And here are some examples of a different material that we're molding, several different materials, and some of the results and some of the observations made. So on the first one, we see that we were getting a dark spot in the gate area. That may or may not be objectionable, but it's noted as occurring with this material, with a certain material. Mold fouling, we can see there's some pickup happening around the gate area, and that may cause a cosmetic defect. And if that's objectionable, if that's a problem, then the mold may need to be stopped on regular intervals, maybe a half hour, maybe an hour, depending on the quality demanded and the appearance that is happening. But it's good to know that that is a potential issue with that specific material. Also plate out. So here we can see there's a buildup happening on the cores with a certain material that may cause some clogging of vents, for example, which may result in a different defect appearing on the part. So it's good to know that these are concerns with each of these specific materials. We see a streak, very slight streak occurring that may or may not be objectionable. If it's a medical application on a white part, then it is probably not going to be acceptable. And we may need to use a different gate style or make some modifications to accomplish a better gate performance for that material in those types of applications. The final two images show an undercut damage. This material is a very robust and tough material. It is more of an engineering material than a commodity material. It's not something you would typically enclosure. And you can see that as this part is being pushed off the core, the undercut is being damaged because that material is not very flexible. So again, that's a good point to highlight on this material, that if you're designing a mold for it, you're not going to be able to use an undercut on that mold design without getting damage on that undercut. So we did an evaluation of a material supplied by BioElan A140HS1. So this material is a biodegradable PBS polymer. So it is a biosourced material and it is fully biodegradable. We evaluated it in our test facility using our injection molding machine, which is a RoboShot, just a regular machine, a general purpose screw diameter 26 millimeters, capable of 2,600 bar. We're nowhere near that with these materials in this closure mold. Part of the evaluation equipment, material needs to be dried. So we have a dryer on our machine. After we have dried it for the specified time and temperature, we can do a moisture analysis to see how much material, see how much moisture there is in that material. And then the other part of the hot runner system and control, temperature controller to control the hot runner system. Our previous mold evaluation or material evaluation used the closure you see on the left-hand side. This is our 24 millimeter closure. In addition, we have another part that is a cap liner. It's a 4 mold, so a smaller shot size, smaller part weight. It has a 1 millimeter gate. So we used both of these materials to evaluate the BioElan A140 material. First of all, the 4 cavity with the 1 millimeter gate gave us excellent gate quality. It has a thinner wall section, under 1 millimeter. We discovered that cavity cooling is running this material, and smaller gate sizes are recommended. So this was a 1 millimeter gate size. Part of our residence time assessment, we collected samples after an interruption of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes, and we tested it over a range of temperatures starting at 150, 160, and 180 degrees. And our finding was that this material was surprisingly stable. We did not see any signs, no visible signs of degradation with going through this test. Here we see the gate appearance that resulted with our valve-gated system. On the left-hand side, we can see that there is some gate vestige. This is not desirable. This was happening with the 30-degree mold temperature. This is partially due to the larger gate size. This is a relatively large gate on a closure for 2 millimeters. When we go down in mold temperature and also in process temperature, we address that issue with that gate appearance. And on the right-hand side, you can see the result of that lower temperature with 150 degree mold process temperature and 24 degrees. And we also assessed 15 degree mold temperature. And you can see that we achieved a quality gate appearance. So our conclusions and recommendations for running the Exipnos BioElan A140 material, we found it was process with conventional injection molding equipment. We achieved excellent gate quality and processability using our Moldmaster's Accu-Valve gating method. We also achieved quality with our open torpedo system. The cavity and gate cooling is critical to optimize the gate quality and also cycle time. We would recommend smaller gate sizes. 1 millimeter gave us a very good gate quality with our valve gate. Our tip gate was a 0.8 millimeter gate size, which is actually still quite large and could be smaller for a tip gate. Our best performance was our melt temperatures and mold temperatures. So our best performance was with a melt temperature of 150 and a mold temperature of 15 degrees. We found it easy to start up. We would achieve full cavitation on our first shot. After a cycle interruption, the process was quickly stabilized, and key process parameters such as injection, peak pressure, cushion, etc., remained consistent. The evaluation determined that this material has excellent residence time tolerance, make ideal candidate for hot runner applications with higher cavitation. So thank you for your interest in this topic today. My email address is shown below. If you have any questions or queries that you would like to forward to me, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Neil Dewar, for this interesting presentation. Neil Dewar will not join us off camera. We'll be able to hear him just fine, though. So, hello and welcome, Neil Dewar. We have a nice picture of you in the studio. So, can you hear us?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yep, I can hear you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here, at least in voice.
Great.
Okay. Yeah, Neil, thanks a lot. This is Peter from this company you mentioned, from the Exipnos company. And as I said, I listened very carefully to your lecture. And yeah, I would like to make a little expert talk with you. At first, I would like to thank you for your trials. And in fact, we saw the same effect that the gate temperature is quite crucial, and you have to observe very much the gate temperature. We see this also on our cups. If there's a slight change of temperature, we get immediately a white spot on the bottom. Mm-hmm. So this is the same from expert to expert. I mean, you are the better expert in hot runner, of course, but this is something that also we realized in our production. And then I would like to inform you that you tested the injection molding material that came out of the Rubio project that we are doing. So we did also an blow molding material. Here you see two shampoo bottles. One is round, one is oval. And that you know that sooner or later those bottles need caps and closures with your technique. So please prepare. Okay, thank you very much. And now comes the first question.
Yes, so the listeners would like to know from the chat, what are the biggest challenges for injection molding of biopolymers like PLA or PBS?
So I think that PLA and our experience with the PBS, we had a good experience. What is important is to make sure that the residence time is within an acceptable limit. The PBS we found was very, very stable and tolerated an interruption in cycle that was actually unusual. And there's many conventional materials that would not tolerate that sort of interruption and extended tolerance time or extended residence time. PLA is similarly been around for a long time and has been developed to a level that we find it is quite process friendly. There are other materials out there that are not so friendly, and we need to make sure that we don't get into trouble with those types of materials. But inherently within our system, what we have is good temperature design of the system so that there's no hang-up spots, areas where material can degrade and contaminate the material flow. And there really there's some key important features within the hot runner system.
Okay, so that's quite an optimistic statement that hot runner seems to be no problem for biopolymers. And we compounders, we try to stabilize the product even more for injection molding applications. Then there's another question from a user. He asked if it's possible to do co-injection with biopolymers. So that means that two components can be combined in the mold. Is there anything you can say regarding the hot runner system about that?
For sure. So the test that we described is just using a mono conventional hot runner system, single material, conventional single injection unit. So co-injection is where two materials are being injected through the same gate. This is used to put in a thin film, a multi-layer within a molded part. So the technology that we demonstrated in our test laboratory in doing the material evaluation is not using that co-injection process, but it is a good first step to understand the stability of the material, its tolerance for resonance and interruption in cycle and that type of thing, and would highlight any concerns that we might have getting into co-injection. So Moldmasters does produce co-injection systems for multiple materials, and the way to identify it is that co-injection, we're talking about two materials going through the same gate, not just one part being molded on top of another. So the technology is quite different from that we used, our mono injection that we showed in our evaluation. But yes, we have applications successfully running injection with biopolymers.
Okay. Yeah, a remark from my side. If Martin would be here, he would talk about that another hour, because he is one of the experts to do the coffee caps, the coffee
capsules,
yeah, with a co-injection process. So there is coming another question. What shot sizes are possible with biopolymers from your experience? Are there any limitations?
Wow. So as we showed it again in our evaluation, we're relatively small shot size, and multi-cavity, 16 cavity would tend to be, the caps and closures side of the business. For larger applications, we have systems that are capable of molding parts that are multiple kilos, several kilos in weight. And indeed, we have larger parts that are being molded in materials like PLA, houseware applications, where you have smaller cavitations. So you might have just a single or a two cavity mold, making larger parts of maybe 300, maybe 500 grams in each part. So that is quite large, but there are the facility, the capability is there for part weights of several kilos. Again, temperature control and monitoring resonance time and ensure that there are no dead spots within the flow are the critical features. So I don't know what the heaviest part is that we have done with a biopolymer. Again, I think PLA is a material that is more common, certainly for larger parts, but I don't see why that should be possible with a broader range of biopolymer materials.
Thanks a lot. I think there are no real limits for using biopolymers in comparison to normal polymers. And yeah, I thank you very much for this presentation. And maybe we see us in the K show this year in Düsseldorf. Are you present there as well?
I would love. I was at the last K show. We demonstrated some of this this work that we have been doing with biopolymers, and certainly I would look forward to participating again in the Case Show this year and showing what we have done.
Okay.
I look forward to that opportunity and to meet you in person.
Okay, thanks. We will do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Neil Dewar, for joining us. Good luck. Thank you for the insights.